The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Joseph Diaz victory over Tevin Farmer. Were you shocked? Your thoughts? G, I'll start off with you.
I'll say this, salute to JoJo. I was impressed by his performance. I was highly disappointed in Farmer. And I'm trying to justify why he performed the way that he did. Maybe it's because JoJo was also a southpaw, so that could have been a difficulty for him. But the whole build up for the fight, like, oh, I'm gonna overpower him. He not that big. I'm looking at y'all too. Y'all look the same size to me, and pretty much the only damage that Farmer did that whole fight was an accidental headbutt. So it just looks real bad, and I know Eddie was tight. Like, it was just a sad day for Farmer. Hopefully Tevin could run it back and get his belt back. But yeah, man, salute to JoJo. It just showed that just heart over skills. And he wanted it more. Tevin seemed like it just seemed like Tevin wasn't himself. So maybe he did break his hand. I'm not too sure. I don't know. Hopefully he broke his hand, and hopefully, but even he was twitching his eye. Like, I don't know. It was he wasn't the same Tevin Farmer that we used to. So I don't know what it was, man. Maybe it was the fact. Maybe it was the Miami weather. I don't know, but he just wasn't the same.
True.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to JoJo Diaz Jr. It made my heart feel good to see Joseph Diaz win this fight. You know what I'm saying? He cried in the ring. Went through a lot of issues with mental health and everything else. When he first came on the scene, I was calling him. He was the next one. He had a fight with Gary Russell, where he said he wasn't able to train as well, and he was really disappointed in himself, and he lost that fight. I always rooted for Diaz. With this fight in particular, I was like, with Farmer, I seemed like in Farmer's last fight, it seemed like he was trying to be more exciting. Like, Farmer changed his whole boxing style, which made him champion. He started trying to be more exciting and trying to land hard shots. In his last fight, he didn't look too oppressive. And he seemed like he was starting to try to do this in this fight too. He didn't throw his jab as much as we're used to, and he said it was due to him breaking his hand. I'm going to give him credit for that because he still didn't have no excuses. He said no excuses. The kid fought a tough fight. Joseph Diaz just wouldn't be denied. That cut was horrible. At one point, I thought I seen bone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? And it was horrible. It was horrible to look at. That cut is so horrible. I honestly think that they might end up taking that belt from Joseph Diaz because that cut won't heal. But I think that it was good that he was able to accomplish his goal as becoming a world champion. Listen, Tevin Farmer was gracious in defeat. Sometimes you just had your run. Tevin Farmer's been in a lot of fights. He had a lot of fights and a lot of wars. And sometimes your body just breaks down. You know what I'm saying? This might be a case of that. If they run it back and with a strong Tevin Farmer and a strong hand, if he goes back to his regular boxing style, I could see him winning. But sometimes fighters just, you know what I mean? But congratulations to Joseph Diaz. That's all I'm saying. Congratulations to Joseph Diaz for him to be able to fight after the second round with a cut like that. Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Hard work beats talent any day. You know what I'm saying? And he was just very determined. He wouldn't be denied last night. So Thursday, excuse me. So hey, listen, shout outs to JoJo Diaz, man, the new IBF champion.
So I always keep it real with everyone, and so I'm gonna keep it real again. During this fight, I consumed a bowl of Golden Grams mixed with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. This is important because I saw the first few rounds very clearly. I saw Tevin Farmer in the collision that caused the cut over JoJo Diaz's eye, And I heard Tevin Farmer say in the corner that he hurt his hand. And so I'm like, ooh, we have like, some drama here. We have JoJo with the cut, and we have Tevin Farmer saying that his hand hurt. He still was throwing the hand, but in comparison to, I guess, how he uses it, maybe he couldn't use it the way he wanted to. And he hinted towards that at the end of the fight. But watching it, I was like, it looks like Diaz is winning. Then the sugar coma from the Golden Grams and the Cinnamon Toast Crunch kicked in. It's half bowl, but half Golden Grams, half Cinnamon Toast Crunch, almond milk in there. Bam! I'm telling you, try it. It's dope. But don't get addicted, because you can get addicted. And if you get addicted, you know what I'm saying, then you lose muscle definition. But anyways, I digress. Let me get back to the point. The middle rounds were hazy for me because I was in and out of sleep. But I did wake up towards like the 9th round and watch the last few rounds, and every time I was watching, it looked like Joseph Diaz was winning. So it seemed like it was the right decision for me. I know Tevin had hope that he won, but you can tell when someone really believes they won. I think it was at one point, like the last 10 seconds, like Diaz was like, you could just tell, he was like, yo, I'm about to win this, and Farmer didn't really look too sure, so that usually tells you all you need to know, because if anybody knows what's happening in that ring, it's the two guys that are in it.
You never know where Farmer's looking.
Farmer's trainer every round was telling him, please, we need this round, please. Like the last 3 rounds, he was like, you gotta do something. We losing.
Yo, it reminds me of the fight. I don't know if it was on that undercard or that fight or this other fight, but it's the fighter from the UK, Sims. He was like, but I'm winning. And his trainer was like, no, you're losing. And his trainer kept telling him, like, yo, we need this round. You lose it. And Sims just kept fighting like he thought he was winning. And then he lost the fight. And then he was sitting around there looking shocked. And I'm like, man, your trainer was telling you we're losing the fight. Like, trainers don't want to tell you you're losing the fight. Like, you think it's like a game. And then Sergio was like, well, I don't know. And then by the end, he was like, well, I guess his trainer was right. Sergio, I don't know about Sergio. But getting back to this.
Sergio, he want to keep that consistent check. He don't want to say nothing wrong. I see you laughing.
I know Sergio does act like, he can't.
He's walking on eggshells. Maybe you're right. Okay, I don't know problem, guys.
I just need to check. I
need to pay that mortgage.
Maybe you are winning. Who knows?
But I think one thing that hurt Tevin was his activity, because Tevin fought. I think we saw him on a card here, and he's fighting on this other card there, and he's fighting on this card there. And I think when you have so many fights the way he did in such a short span of time, your body is going to break down, and that's why your hand got hurt, because you're in so many training camps. You know, people who don't understand this, from the mitt work to hitting the punching bag, to hitting the speed bag, to doing weight training, to doing all types of stuff, all the impact and damage that you're doing to your hands constantly. Like, you going from the mitts, then you go into the bag, you go to the double end bag, then you go to the speed bag, then like you're sparring. There's so much damage that your hands take. So I remember people used to make fun of Floyd, like, oh, brittle hands. And I was like, morons. Like, let me see you idiots train for a fight for 1 year, 2 camps, hitting. Your wrist hurts sometimes your shoulder hurts, your body breaks down, it's not a game. This guy had like 4 or 5 fights in like 1 year. So sometimes, man, you just got to give yourself a rest. I would love to see Tevin Farmer just take it easy and probably have only 2 fights next year.
F that. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
That's it for me, yeah.
All right. Please like and subscribe.
Oh, actually, you're right. There's another question. Does this loss, because I know some people are going to go there, does this loss to Joseph Diaz prove that Tank Davis would beat Tevin Farmer?
Like we alluded to now, you know what I'm saying? Like, Tevin Farmer, this would be right pickings for Tank right now. With looks like Tevin, like, he's kind of young in age, but in boxing he's really old. You know what I'm saying? And not mentioning his amateur career, just the fights that he had, and especially in these last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been the only, like, Eddie's done had him on every card, it seemed like. And like I was saying to G when we left last week, can his body hold up? You know what I'm saying? And I think that right now, I don't think his body will hold up for a Tank right now. I think we're just seeing right now, like, and he has never been that guy. It's kind of like Paulie. He's never been that guy that had that power. He was just skilled. You know what I'm saying? And once you become certain old and the skills start fading, you've never been known as a punching guy, and your body starts breaking down. No, I don't think he can stand up to a young, tough Tank right now.
Yeah, I actually agree with Trill on this one, only because it wasn't just like even if he had a healed hand, his reflexes weren't the same.
Slowing down.
It was slowing down.
When he wanted to fight, that's when he would have won. I had him winning when he wanted
the
to
shots
fight.
that JoJo was hitting him with, I was like, come on, man, that's not supposed to happen with Farmer, you know. And so, it might be like he's just declining, you know. I hope not. Maybe if he just takes a year off and then he fights Tank, you know what I'm saying? Like before he fights Tank, probably a tune-up, then get into the fight with Tank Davis. Then I think he could do a lot better. But if he just goes like within this year with this fight, he's gonna lose. I like just seeing the performance. It's just sad, man. Like he's not the same person. He just needs time off, you know.
So I'm not one who likes to do this. I always say you can never really tell. You can't do the cross-fight comparison. You don't know certain things. Joseph Diaz timing is different than Tank's. His ring IQ is different from Tank's. It could be better, it could be worse. You just never really know. So it's difficult to say who would win doing what. You look at Lennox Lewis, it's one of the best heavyweights ever. His 2 L's came from guys who were like, who? Like, well, no, I don't want to disrespect them like that, but my point is they're not like Hall of Famers. Hakeem Rahman's not a Hall of Famer. Oliver McCall's not a Hall of Famer. Lennox lost to those guys. Those are his 2 L's. Oliver McCall and Hakeem Rahman.
Shout out to Lennox. He was playing around.
Yeah, but look at the guys who couldn't beat him. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous to say that, because someone loses to this guy, he'd lose to that guy. And Tevin Farmer is no stranger to taking L's. This is his 5th loss. So could Tank beat him? Absolutely. Tank has the ability, the skills, that if he applies it, he's a dangerous fighter for anyone in or around his weight division. However, Tevin Farmer might get, if he gets the Tank that far, Gamboa. Or is he going to get the Tank that's determined to look spectacular? We never really know these things. Boxing's a crazy game. So I would favor Tank, but it's not because of what happened with Joseph Diaz. I would favor Tank just because I think he's the more talented fighter. I think he has more tools at his disposal. I think, some of the Deontay Wilder effect, like Wilder says, you gotta be perfect for 12 rounds, only gotta be perfect for 2 seconds. It's just Tank has more variety of punches that he can land than Deontay Wilder. But I would pick Tank for those reasons. And so I would pick Tank, but not because of what happened with Joseph Diaz, but just because I think overall Tank is more athletically gifted and he has more ways to win. Farmer needs the perfect match.
2 years ago, who would you have picked?
It would have been it would have been more difficult for me 2 years ago because I think Farmer, like you said, he was more slippery. It would have been a tougher fight to pick. I probably still would have picked Tank only because I always say I pick a skilled boxer over a puncher, but Tank is a boxer puncher to me. So that's why I would still go with Tank. So if we're talking a boxer puncher, then it changes things. If you're solely just a brawler or a puncher and you have no boxing skill and you're going against someone like Tevin Farmer, I pick Tevin Farmer right out the gate. I always believe a good boxer beats a puncher most of the time. But if it's a boxer puncher, which I think Tank is, then it changes.
He just changed these last 3 fights.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Tank changed. I don't know what happened over there. I used to always make fun of Coach Cunningham, but it seemed like when he went over there, he changed. He changed a lot. You have anything else to say, my brother?
But I do have one thing to say. I forgot to mention. Shout out to Tevin Farmer's stylist because I thought his outfit was fire. You know what I mean? I'll be honest, like the hot pink with the sky blue and the black, like, you know what I mean? I thought it was a perfect.
That's that Miami.
Yeah, it's perfect for Miami with the little gold chains on the side. I was like, yo, man, he might have the outfit
He had
of
that
the year.
Miami
Let's
lifestyle, you know what I'm
We
saying?
got like 10 more months, but, you know, or 11 more months in the year, but he's in the
Yeah,
running
it was
for best outfit thus far.
Hearing Devin Haney on the commentary too, it was good. You know what I'm saying?
Devin, speak up, man.
Devin's like me. Devin's like me, my man. You know what I'm saying?
I was like, what is he saying?
He was like, Trill get away with it. Please like and subscribe and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can also check out our podcast on all major streaming services. It's the Boxer Bros.